Good evening. Welcome to tonight's work session. Glad you all could be here with us tonight. The first item on the agenda, building official Eric Cortines, has been removed from the agenda per the request of Mr. Cortines. He's not quite ready to bring the building department issues to light. Marina discussions. If you will come forward, introduce yourself. Sure, absolutely.
That's okay. Not too next to me.
I don't know that we know you, but if we can get you to state your name for the record, please.
I'm Lynn Mazer. Our Director of the Economic and Community Development Department is in Washington at the moment, meeting with Bradley Byrne and some other organizations and checking with them to see how they can assist us in Fairhope. So she asked me to sit in for her on this presentation and sort of introduce you all to what her department has been doing vis-a-vis the marina and the lease that's coming to an end in October. Sherry Lee asked me to look into marinas around the country, city-owned or municipal marinas, to see how they operate. So I started in the state of Washington and went all the way around to the state of Maine, eliminated those, poor Lisa had to sit there and listen to me do it, but had to eliminate those of cities that were too big, didn't compare at all, or were more commercial in their operations, narrowed it down to about 19 that were similar to Fairhope and started making phone calls, and managed to get that number down to about 10, who were mostly like Fairhope, in that they were a destination city. They obviously were waterfront or riverfront, and had some commonality in what we already know as our customers at the marina, the loopers in particular. So we went up the river a bit. Of those 10 that made it into the final report here, only 2 were leased, and one is an anomaly. It's in Michigan, it's seasonal, and it's a situation where 2 gentlemen have been operating the marina on behalf of the city, but the city has maintained tight control over them. The other one is about to foreclose on its lessor. Of all the marinas that I called, every single one of them advised me that the best thing that the city of Fairhope could do is to operate its own marina. I'm going to give you each of the councilmen. I have a copy here. That's the bare bones synopsis of the report that we put together. The bottom line is all of these gentlemen and ladies told me that marinas make money. City-operated marinas have more and better control over the public perception of the city by voters, and this is their first impression of the city, and we know that first impressions are lasting impressions. Marinas managed by a lessee are always returned to the city in poor condition. And these are what all of these harbor masters are telling me. They've had the experience. All the cities with which I spoke consider their marinas an amenity for their residents. We have better and more control over our marina environment, as we're in a better position to be proactive over situations that might occur. The city has control over the quality of the staffing, and marinas provide the cities with revenues. And there was more that we learned. But the next step was to find someone locally who could independently assess our marina and give us some direction. I know Councilman Burrell and Councilman Boone have already met him, but it is my pleasure to introduce to you Jay and Jimmy and Robert Ashley Gordon, who has been that person who has dedicated a lot of his time to help us assess our marina.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Ashley Gordon. First of all, let me thank Councilman Boone for inviting me to today's work session. I realize it might be a little helpful to give some background on myself. I'm a retired Coast Guard officer and a licensed mariner. The bulk of my experience is as a maritime infrastructure project manager. I have spent, you'll have to forgive me, I got a cold coming on. I've spent 29 years in the Coast Guard, just recently retired March 10th. And my last job was as a infrastructure manager for a multi-million-dollar yard out of Mobile. Very happy to be given the opportunity to give back to the city in this effort to look at some potential for the marina at Fly Creek. So I broke this down into 3 phases, this presentation. The first and foremost, I'm hoping everybody can hear me all right, I don't like that in my face, is safety, infrastructure, and regulatory issues that are occurring at the marina. So you have some infrastructure issues with regard to the safety of the pier, some of the main decks, the fuel pier, and absence of a cofferdam around the fuel tanks. This was a cursory look, a material inspection, if you will, walking around the entire facility and making notes on what it was that I would immediately address if I was the city of Fairhope. The integrity of the fuel piers and the finger piers were my most concerning item. Additionally, in this first phase, I would look into improving a curb appeal, maybe repainting the bathrooms and some of the other light infrastructure stuff that you can do at a nominal cost to try to create a new narrative for the marina. A crucial part of the marina, and any marina clearly, is the channel inbound. My understanding is there was some dredging done recently, covered all the high spots, but you need to have a dependable channel coming in. The city and the other entities within Flat Creek, it's my understanding that they're working on a plan moving forward with that. And that would be a showstopper if we don't have a scheduled dredge plan. What we want to do in this first phase is kind of send a message of good things in the future. Good things are coming, but we want to control the message and control the narrative, which moves me into phase 2, which is maximizing our existing revenue opportunities. And all these initial improvements would be something that would be subsidized by the marina itself. That would not be something that the city would have to offer up. There should be the revenue existing within the slips and the money being made to be able to reinvest in the infrastructure of the marina and be able to bring it up at its own cost, right? So what we want to do is create a marina identity, start a light targeted marketing within 100 miles of Fairhope. We'd like to evaluate current rental revenue against market recognized square footage for the facilities that are there that the city has leases on. We also want to implement an accurate data collection and account receivables billing management system, which there's a lot of software out there for marinas. It's very specific to collecting data to help you target later on in your marketing, plus be able to help you with your infrastructure development within the marina itself, essentially telling you, hey, this is your customer, this is what you're getting this time of year, so you can market things and target it, right? You also want to create opportunities for the boaters that are already established things for the city of Fairhope, like the festivals, arts and crafts, lighting of the trees. You want to create a package for people to be able to come in. That's the demographic you're looking for, is people that can bring their boat here, bring their money, and be able to go out into the community and enjoy Fairhope. Fairhope essentially sells itself. So that ends up phase 2. And phase 3, which is 12 to 18 months in, you want to hit an area where you can start to create a new revenue stream. You want to be able to conduct a study of the marina, a geospatial survey of, are you maximizing the potential of your slip rentals with regard to what your primary target is? And you'll be able to extrapolate that data from the software and what you've been using over the last 2 years and be able, like I said, target that data. Also, you might want to look at building a venue on that west side, a la like what you have at the Veterans Fountain up there, where we're able to create a revenue for the city with small weddings or receptions and that kind of thing. And that would lead us into about the 36 month mark. At this point, you would like to have completed all of your improvements with the marina infrastructure, again, subsidized by what the marina's made itself. have 5- and 10-year marina infrastructure plans in place and approved. A self-sustaining marina budget, a professional marketing campaign, its own infrastructure improvements with the profits made from the marina, and be an established revenue earner for the city. The end goal, of course, would be a bona fide, established, dependable revenue source for the city. And that pretty much, I tried to put that inside of 10 minutes, but I can certainly answer any questions if anybody has any.
No, excellent, Ashley. Council, as you know, right now, we have two separate leases. They both expire September 30th of this year, and we have any number of options available to us. We can put both of those out for bid. We can combine them together and put it out for one bid. We could decide not to put either of them, and one is a boatyard, remember, and one's the marina. We could decide not to put either up for bid, or we could decide to put one or the other up for bid. Basically, however we want to structure it, and I think what Ashley's telling us is his plans for, correct me if I'm wrong, this is more the marina side of it, and we're not so much talking about the boatyard side of things. So I think what this council is going to be faced with the decision is, what do we do? Are we interested in taking the marina over as a city and operating it? And that means that, of course, we would have to hire someone, but I'll just put my 2 cents worth in. I think that might be well worth it. The other idea is, do we take over both the marina and the boatyard and have someone run that? And I believe we probably want to hear from Kevin as to what the Harbor Board had recommended, but I've heard there was a little bit of a split on the Harbor Board on that. They'd made a recommendation to the city, I believe, Kevin, to renew both leases. Is that correct?
Well, that is correct. They're working right now. They're trying to get a lease set up right now, which was met with a little discussion. And as far as what would be fair, as far as the bid amounts or the amounts to be paid to the city, and one of the bigger questions is coming up as far as the marina and the boatyard. In the past, one's worked well with the other and help operate. Both of them help operate one another, in other words. And so it is a question of whether or not the boatyard can sustain itself without the help of the marina. And that would have to be looked at also, because being in the marina business is one thing, being in the boatyard business is a whole different ballgame. And but right now, they did pass a recommendation to have a survey done so we can do a better, or look at the idea better of what we do need to do, because there's also some talk about splitting the beach. Right now, the beach area, the park area is part of the lease. And they're looking to try to separate that out, just leave it as a park, because it really doesn't do anything for the marina and or the boatyard as we know it today. So that's one reason we're trying to get this survey done, and they are requesting the city to get a survey done on the overall and have a plat not recorded, but have a plat so that we can look at and see what the overall dimensions are that we have to work with.
I'm going to go ahead and say that if we were to separate the two, let's say under the condition that we took back over the marina and leased the boatyard, I think that the boundaries for those parcels of land would have to change some, because the marina just comes back basically to the bulkheads, and you need some amount of land there. There would have to be some language in there, rights-of-way issues and access issues that would have to be taken care of, but I think it could be overcome.
Yeah, I can certainly address that point.
Sure, would you?
So when you're looking at the marina and you're looking at where the boatyard is, the footprint is such that, just like Councilman Burrell was saying, that it backs up directly to the boat within 10 feet, right? So you have some regulatory, some issues that are regulatory, and some that are not best practices with regard to the yard. So in my estimation, the two most dangerous operations that you have is the travel boat lift, the apron, and the fueling, right? Currently, they operate within about 6 feet of each other. So that was something that needed to be addressed almost immediately. And as far as the what they're doing out in the yard and some of the things like the spraying the boats down and getting all that stuff done, it's not going to, it's not going to marry well to the type of marina that we're trying to put together. There may be, if you could maneuver that footprint around the corner a little bit to some of that area where that other side and that parking up against that fence area, that may be an answer. But I don't think that footprint where we have all that is conducive to have a high-end marina and a boatyard at the same time. And I think that, Fairhope offers a uniqueness that we would rather use that to try to attract a certain boater and cruisers and the loopers to Fairhope, vice trying to compete maybe with Dog River and a boatyard, because Dog River can't really offer what we offer. So we shift those priorities and move more toward a high-end marina and maybe some kind of future within that space that was for the boatyard.
When you say that, you're referring to not having a boatyard at all?
You would have maybe a boatyard that has a different kind of a maintenance feel to it, but certainly maybe not a travel lift type of yard unless you can maneuver some of those things that were concerning, like moving the fuel or moving that travel lift. You can't have them right on top of where you're charging people, $700 a month to have their boat. And I just don't, my opinion is I don't think that'll work.
Or you could change the fueling dock. I mean, all
Yes.
high-end marinas have fueling docks down in Orange Beach.
They do, but then you can move, certainly get a convault or get something. That's basically what everybody's doing, is they've moved their fuel off way away from where all the boats are, and they hard pipe it in. That way you can have two pipes, essentially one inside the other, so you're saving on any spillage or any issues. That's what everybody's gone to over the last 15 years or so.
There's something that needs to be said as well, as I'm thinking about it, is I talked about the marina, and talked about the boatyard, but there is a third component to the marina facility there, and that is where all the shrimpers and the crabbers, the fishermen, where it originally started and was set up for a place for them to put their boats, is that currently is not affected at all by either of these leases. It's a non-issue there right now. In fact, we have budgeted monies to improve those bulkheads over there. We just had an engineering study done there, and we have money in the budget to repair a lot of those bulkheads. So for right now, this does not, I know some of those people have gotten nervous and anxious about that, but this would not affect them at all. In fact, we have an ordinance in place that limits the amount of pleasure boats that we can put at that location, and we've reserved a certain number to maintain those fishermen's livelihoods, although some would argue that whether or not they really have a livelihood being made there, but nonetheless, people like keeping that ambiance there of the fishing vessels, so that's not affected by all of this discussion.
Actually,
Yeah,
it is somewhat. That's the reason we need this survey, is as you push around that corner next to the fence, it's taking up the area. Right now, the fishermen have an opportunity to pull at least two boats out and work on them behind, next to the fence area in that area, which I think we still have enough room, but again, a survey would help determine that tremendously. And then they have to have room for the parking of their vehicles in that area. So, and again, the survey you could designate certain areas if you had a survey and knew what to do, how to best utilize the property for those purposes. But other than that, you're right, the leases don't have really anything to do with the commercial side of the fishermen.
right. Yeah, not that withstanding, correct. And I think that we could discuss the parking, there's a lot of areas. I think that as to what kind of amenity the beach front itself would be there, I think you'd probably get some pushback from the residents that live along there that they wouldn't want that. We have a beach, we have a pier area, and they would say send the people there. Doesn't mean that we can't make that place attractive, but if you make it too attractive and people say, come to this beach, it's not crowded, don't go to the other beach, I can promise you we're going to have a problem right there. That wouldn't last very long, depending on how we attract them there. But so council, what you're going to be asked in the very, very near future, very soon, is to determine what you want to see at that marina. What do you want to put out for bid? What do you not want to put out for bid? How do you see us going forward with that piece of property? I think it's been at least from a city standpoint, underperforming for quite some time.
Now, I will say this, Skip Jones and Bob Griggs are in the audience, if you'd like for them to speak. They're the two, really, I call them the rock pushers that are trying to push this rock up the hill to get this lease done.
Yeah. Bob, would you like to say, do you have any remarks?
Yeah, just to add to what Kevin
This is
said.
Bob Riggs with the Harbor Board.
Excuse me, Bob Riggs. Yes, we've had 2 meetings trying to evaluate the existing leases. That is, the Harbor Board have had these meetings, and there's an absolute bifurcation. There are 2 camps there. And so I really can't offer any conclusion on behalf of the Harbor Board. As an interested citizen, I would, however, encourage the council to hear what Ashley has to say. We're fortunate to have an expert like this in our community who's put a lot of work into this, and I appreciate what I'm hearing tonight, the council's open-mindedness about how we might proceed with this. And I think I would just encourage you to continue to be open-minded and to listen to the advice and recommendations that might be forthcoming.
So, questions, Council? Jimmy?
Yeah, I have a question. So if one camp of the Harbor Board is essentially working to renew both leases, is the other camp in the position of not renewing either one of them, or one?
I think if I can characterize, again, I can't officially do this because we haven't come to any conclusions. Essentially, one camp wants to keep things like they are, okay? And I think to make some adjustment in the distribution of revenue, the share that's coming to the city, not. The other camp, I would or at least Bob Riggs would characterize it as being in line with what we're hearing tonight. I think what I would hear from this is perhaps the city could effectively operate the marina and take a look at the boatyard function, Jack. I'm not sure how much boatyard we need. I think about the loopers. If you come down to Tom Bigby, you're going to bring a prop, you're probably going to need a travel lift, Ashley. So that if you got to have a travel lift, you're going over to Dog River rather than coming here. So what I would think that might be a plausible way is to operate the marina and then get a professional in there to do that and or in the interim we have until October, look at the boatyard and see exactly what we do want to have. I'm not sure we could answer that tonight. So.
Well, and a follow-up question, what's the ballpark revenue the city generates from operating those 2 leases annually? Do we know?
No, it's
Our total revenue this year, Bill, was $43,000. And we can, the revenue from the marina, there's a floor of $1,100 a month. And if the revenue from the marina exceeds the floor, the lessee gets 95%. 95%, the city gets 5%. And surprisingly, we have never exceeded the floor. All right? And then we get 1 cent per gallon for gasoline, a half a cent for diesel. The airport authority, I think, is 7%.
7 cents a gallon.
Yeah, so a half a cent and a cent as compared with 7 cents. The boatyard, had an elaborate formula there, but essentially the floor was $1,000, and then 18 months ago, the city council, when they renewed that contract, increased that to $3,000 a month. So that's the current revenue. But
That's
for
for the boatyard.
for the boatyard, that's correct.
Right.
The revenue is $1,100 for the marina, that's the floor, 95.5 split above that, and the boatyard is $3,000. FY16 revenue for those 2 entities together was $43,000.
And do we have any kind of a ballpark, or maybe jumping the gun on what, if we were to hire a harbor master and manage the marina ourselves, what kind of revenue we would generate?
Certainly, we've put together some cursory numbers, having to do an average on an exact, so what I used was $8 a foot, 32-foot vessel. Obviously, there's vessels less than 32 and over 32, but to be able to produce a number, that's what we did, and we came in over $300,000 for our revenue. In the first year, which was an extremely conservative estimate, because I want, I wanted the city to get an accurate number and be able to work with that number, and if it's higher, then that's great. But That's about a 550% increase from
And we're
this
assuming we
year's.
could operate it for less than 250,000, that would be kind of the break even. That's not net revenue, that's gross, right?
That's gross, that's correct.
And
But yes,
Ballpark on the expenses of operating it?
well, you're going to have it, seasonal employees, you're going to have at least one harbor master. So you're going to have to, I don't know what the city's schedule is with regard to what they might pay that person, let's say $75,000 and then $20,000 for one employee and then the seasonal employee, so you're at maybe 95. Once you reintroduce some of that money, that revenue that you've made over that first phase and the second phase of that plan, then you're going to be able to bring in more revenue. So we make a we make a better product, essentially. We bring the people in, we're able to raise the price of that. So we're at somewhat 32 foot, $9 a foot, and that increased. Plus, we increased what we were leasing some of the items for. That was a little more commensurate with a waterfront building. I think we're paying. I think when I read the lease, it was $250 for one of the buildings there, and they had done a lot of their own work and invested a lot of their own money in that. But there's potential to make a lot more money there, and to be able to subsidize itself and still be able to provide a very good revenue to the city. And that's completely separate of the boatyard. You're going to have to figure out, do you have the footprint for both of those? I think that's the crux. That's where you're going to be. Do we have enough room to do both? And be focused on being a destination marina, which is what, that's what I would envision Fairhope as. We already have done the marketing to get people here. People already know what Fairhope is. That would just be another way for them to get to us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Councilman Conyers, I tell you that $8 a foot he's basing that on is, you won't find it, there's nowhere between
That's Fred's and Family
Brownsville,
rate.
Texas,
Yes, sir.
and Maine that has a price any cheaper than that. So, Councilman Boone?
Well, actually, I was going to tell Jimmy, or Councilman Conyers, the gist of the lease was basically over revenue, and how to distribute the revenue. As far as keeping it as it was, or changing the percentage a little bit, or changing it pretty drastically. And that's pretty much what the discussions were.
Gotcha.
Councilman Brown? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, item 3 on the agenda is the sales tax holiday ordinance. I wanted to bounce this off of the council. We have to make a decision on whether or not to allow a sales tax holiday. That would be sales tax from Friday, July 2017, July 21st, 2017, ending at 12 midnight the following Sunday, and each year thereafter until rescinded. This is currently not in effect. We have not allowed the sales tax holiday for how many years now, Clerk?
No, it is.
It is in
It's in
effect? I thought
effect, it's
that-
August. It's in August right now.
That's in August? I thought that we did not pass this. That's why I have Lisa here. Says adopted in June 2009. Is there another sales tax holiday? I'm pretty sure that,
It was for disaster storms,
okay, I was,
and it was only done for 1 year. This one was done ongoing. The reason it's up is because it's changed from August to July.
okay. Council, I'm going to ask the clerk to look that up. I was not aware that we were allowing this.
Actually, I think this was for the school system, wasn't it? I mean, that's why.
Well, it was during this-
They call it a holiday, but it was during the first part of going back to school.
School line, right.
Start school early, so you gotta back it up to July, so August.
I mean, I think that's what this was implemented for.
You didn't have to repeal it.
Okay. Okay, council, any comments? Councilman Boone?
No, that was it, pretty much the only one I had.
What's that?
None for me.
Would you keep it intact? We'd have to vote on this since the date has changed.
I mean, I think, isn't the reason the dates changed just because school's starting earlier in July? Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
change it to July.
Okay? Okay. I guess I'm Scrooge. I wonder why it's necessary. That's over a week of sales tax revenue in summer that and we have a tourist economy that we lose.
Are they, that's a good question.
Actually, it's just it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah.
It's just the weekend. It's the following Sunday.
First Friday in August. Third Friday, and then in 12th, the following. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I read another week.
As long as it's not Boardwalk Friday, we're good.
That would not be. That's a little better. Okay, so I'm hearing council, you want to approve this?
Yes.
Okay, clerk, will you get that on next agenda? Okay. Okay. Next item, professional consulting services for graphic design and layout at Valley House. I asked, Mayor had actually asked to put this on the agenda. We have not had any discussion on this, so I moved this to the work session. So, Mayor, who will discuss this with us?
This was actually Sherry Lee's, and Jeff needs to finish the website. This is just a contract to get somebody that is, in that field to finish up the website, which is pretty much done, except for the visuals and graphic design. It is also the person that we would like to use with that look of the website for the monthly newsletters that we want to do, the monthly printed newsletters.
But who currently provides the graphic design for the website?
No one. Have you seen the current website?
Yep.
Okay.
Questions for the mayor? Anyone?
Wanted to point out too that Jeff Montgomery, he did the whole website. This was an expense that we did not have to have, which was one of the big things I wanted to do when I came into office is have a user-friendly website that, people could really find things easier on the website. It is difficult right now for citizens to find their way on the website, and he has spent the better part of this year in his spare time putting it together, and it's, now at the end where we just need the graphic design expense, but we have really saved a great deal by him putting that together for us.
Do we have any idea as to what the graphic design expense would be?
Well, something like this, you just put it out like any professional service, and with the scope of work, and I wasn't part of that process. I just know that based on Jeff and Sherry Lee, they needed him for those two things.
Again, are we looking at this just to do the change up or make it easier for the website? Is that the only purpose for the hiring?
Right now it is. We're not hiring anybody. This is
Whatever it says here, to hire a professional firm.
I don't think it's just a graphic designer. They're not going to be on staff.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, Mayor, would you get back to me with a not to exceed limit if we were to move forward with this, put this on the next, you don't happen to have that?
I don't.
Okay. We can't discuss the final price, but we can have a not to exceed value with that. Any other questions at all? Tell me a little bit more about this monthly newsletter.
Sherry Lee is not here today, but she has been working with that department, including Paige, and we want to do a monthly so that it has a monthly calendar that will show everything that's going on in Fairhope. And we will also include a little bit of information about maybe featuring an employee each month, kind of like what Gail does right now as an internal email. There's actually lots of interesting things that will be in the newsletter, but it's not a big newsletter. I don't think it would be more than like 4 pages, but it would be monthly.
Okay.
So people can have that printed version and know what's going on.
So is this something that you want to mail to everybody, or do you want to
No.
e-blast it, put it on the website, and then have them a limited number at library, city hall, like
We'll
we did
print
city
some.
sketches the last time?
We'll print some, email it, make it available online, But we will put a lot out, maybe even use a distributor that already distributes in locations for their own publication.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, committee updates. Councilman Boone?
Yeah, we had a real good personnel board meeting last week concerning safety issues and actually concerning the dress code of some of the employees trying to work on trying to get uniform shorts and short sleeve shirts during the summertime. And it was brought up that the safety issues, poor Pandora, I have to give her a plug because she does a fine job of trying to work as hard as she can, helping to decrease the amount of injuries that we have on this job through different discussions and different films and different things to look at to try to help people understand what they need to do in order to stay safe. And anyway, the personnel board is looking at different ways and what we can do to help improve the safety values of the workforce.
Okay. Councilman Robinson?
Yes. So the first thing I want to say is I confessed last time that I had missed my tree committee meeting. That was a lie. I had the dates wrong. It was the week after the last council meeting, so I was able to attend it. And business as usual, they're scheduling things for next year already, dates for judging different trees and Arbor Day and getting that set up. For the recycling committee, Earth Day was on this past Saturday down at the pier. It was from 10 to 6. We had a great turnout. And then last, we had a recreation board meeting this past Wednesday. Discussed all the current recreation going on in the city, and there is a lot. And excited to see if they are excited to see if and get the engineering started for the Volanta master plan.
Okay. Excellent. Councilman Brown?
The bike and pedestrian meeting didn't have a quorum. However, I guess everybody's aware that the little 11-year-old boy that was hit downtown Saturday during Earth Day, saw him this afternoon. He's doing fine. He's going to recover quickly. So I think, and one of the committee members also sent an email to the committee saying we need to address the bike safety, in town. I don't know what's going to come out of the committee on that, but especially on the busy days like that, if people are trying to bike through town.
Was a young man walking or on a bicycle?
He was walking. But the bike and pedestrian committee member rode up from the big pier and lives in town and just said he did not feel safe as well with, riding in town. But anyway, no report from that committee. That's it. And the Education Advisory Committee is still working with the county trying to figure out what the long-range plan is for Fairhope schools. That's it.
Councilman Conyers?
On the safety discussion, I would like to point out the Fairhope Public Library received a gold award from the Alabama Municipal Insurance Corporation, Municipal Workers' Compensation Fund, and I believe they've received that just about every year, and that's for just maintaining excellent risk management, staying safe on the job. As far as the Environmental Advisory Board, they're working with the Harbor Board on making sure that if we do renew those leases, they'd like to have some language in there about making that a clean marina. And Historic Preservation Committee, I missed the last meeting for that organization, unfortunately. That's it.
Okay. Airport Authority met last week. We got a progress report on the East Side project. That project's about 60% complete. Most of the site work, the dirt work is completed. And what they will do now is they'll put about 2 inches of asphalt over all of that earthen work that's been done. The next phase, which we will apply for next year, and we do anticipate to get that FAA grant to the tune of, I'm going to say roughly $2 million, is that will be to put an additional 7 inches of asphalt down over that, so we'll have 9 inches of asphalt over that. And then the next phase would be to complete a road It goes all the way around there, and then if you look at a book, when you look at one page would be completed, and then the next phase would be to complete the paving on the left side of the book. So that would be the next phase, and that would be the final phase of that particular east side expansion. There were people, representatives from the aviation industry there. We talked about what it would look like as far as what kind of leases we would like to give on hangars. There's going to be probably a lot of debate on that. Be a lot of debate on fuel farms, whether we have multiple or whether we have a single. Some of the argument is you can give multiple. We just gave 2 of them to private hangars on the west side. But each time you do that, you water down the value of the FBO there. So the FBO, if we do have another FBO on the east side, we talk about it like it's a given, but we may not. I think that we would. They want to be able to sell fuel and make money. And so if you allow additional fuel farms, of course, that eats into their revenues, which means if there was a bid for that, they might bid less because they can't make the same amount of money. So things that we have to talk to. But there's plus and minuses for all of that. If you let the private individuals have their own fuel farm, the airport authority itself gets the fuel flowage fees off of that. But and then there's the idea of where you put them. Do you put them in multiple locations? I think the general consensus is whether we let people have their own fuel farms, they would all be co-located in the same place. So anyway, a lot to be worked out there, but a lot of progress going on as well. Okay. Department head updates. Eric?
I try to run numbers of what our guys are doing every few months, and I ran the inspection totals for January to March, and our department performed 2,705 inspections in January, February, and March. That's about 63 working days, so it's about 43 a day. The residential, everybody kind of knows what all we've got going on. Real quick, the other thing that's interesting about that is 2,206 of them were on properties inside the city limits. That's 81%. So basically 80% of the inspections we're doing right now are on properties in the city, commercial and residential. I had a meeting last week with Three Circles Church, and we've got some very big commercial expansions that are coming. Three Circles is going to do a fairly extensive renovation of their existing building, and they're going to be building a new 1,200-seat sanctuary on that property. First Baptist Church is doing an extension on the west side, going in and opening up that building and creating a new education area on that back side. So I've been talking to their architects, and we are just finishing up the first year of the 3 years of the Grand Hotel renovation. We finalized the Marina building and part of the Magnolia Ballroom. We will come back. Their work window is generally from October, November till about May. So they're about to shut down. They'll probably pick back up again in August or September. And this is going to be going on for the next 3 years. They're going to work their way through that entire facility, upgrading to, I think they said, a 4 or 5-star Marriott designation. So they're redoing finishes, rewiring, and doing a lot of work. And then we've also got 4 medical offices coming. We have one right there on the corner by Fairhope High School, directly across the street from the gas station on that parcel. We have one on 4th Street up in Montrose that's an oral surgery center. And then the Eastern Shore Advocacy Healthcare is building one up near Section and Gayfer as well. And those are all plans that I've either received or I've had discussions with the architects about what's coming. So that's kind of a snapshot of what all's happening in town right now.
Thank you, Eric. Jill, Deborah, y'all been busy? Dan?
Council, the next council meeting, I was going to do a brief presentation of some of the awards that our water and sewer department has won to bring all the state work, great work the staff is doing, and some of the engineering awards that we've won on our wastewater treatment facility. So that's what y'all will probably see that in the next 2 weeks. Next council meeting.
Okay. Rob and I will move Miss Skippy. Dan was so excited about those awards. When I was calling Dan Ames, he jumped up.
Back to the Fly Creek project, the invitation for bid went out April 21st, and Wednesday, the 26th, which is this week, we're going to have a mandatory pre-bid, and then Tuesday, May the 9th, the bid opening at 9 a.m. So we're moving further with the bulkhead work, one step at a time.
Okay, excellent. Chief Ellis?
Just to give you an update on what the fire department's doing, last month, we ran 67 calls for March. We're finishing up a certification course in Fairhope, and our explorers went to Trussville for a competition this past weekend. They competed in 5 events, very strong times, and brought back a 3rd place trophy in hose advancement. And one of our explorers, Brian Bossert, won a full ride scholarship to the Alabama Fire College that he applied for late last year. We found out this weekend. So just to give you an idea of what's going on.
Okay. Mr. Saraceno, anything on emergency management?
No, sir.
Okay. Wayne?
Sir, as Eric mentioned, there's been a lot of construction going on. The plant company's been very busy as well. We do have our new planner starting May the 8th. His name is Buford King. Buford's got some background in construction, but also in the local government as well. He has a degree from Auburn in building science, and he's completing his master's degree in public administration. So we're excited to have Buford come on board. He was also with the county for a number of years as well, and so we think Buford will do a great job for us. In the planning department, very customer-friendly person, and so we're excited to have him on board. Again, we've been very busy. We've been working on some of the items from the moratorium discussions. That's been a little bit slow going because of we do have a moratorium, but there's still a lot of things going on. And I think the moratorium is set to expire July 4th, actually. And so there might need to be some discussions about the moratorium in the next couple months. There are a lot of things we'd like to complete that we may not have time to get to before it expires. But with that, we have a planning commission meeting. We have several items on the planning commission meeting, rezonings and things of that nature. So we're still moving along, and a lot of exciting things going on.
Okay. Tim? Did I miss anybody on this side of the room? Okay. On this side of the room. I asked him.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right, Richard. Yes.
Thank you for your time. I don't have much to report on, although I will say the Baldwin County sewer issue has been, something that we've had a conference call about. Kevin's familiar with it, and I've put together kind of a draft form of an agreement that I've asked the attorneys to look through, and if that's something that we can pursue. I know they're in a hurry for this whole thing to be discussed, between the two entities that are involved in the agreement. I'm meeting with Joey Nunley in the morning on the locations where the county has put in increased culvert sizes from the April 2014 rain event. There's been some miscommunication about, what utilities we have and whether or not they need to be relocated or lowered or moved out of the way for some reason during construction. Those issues never got resolved. They're trying to close out the contract, and there are a few places where we still have some issues that we're going to try to set a course of action by looking at these sites tomorrow. I'm a little bit surprised that when we look at the capability that we may have to participate in doing some of that relocation work, it seems like we're getting to the point where we're overextended in capability. And I'm not going to harp on the budget. I know we've gone back and forth on that enough times now, but I will say that each department could easily have more people available to it. And I just think that as we continue to grow, I think those issues will become more and more obvious to everybody. And by the time you hire somebody and train somebody and get them in a position where they can be productive, it takes time to accomplish that. And I wish you consider your budget considerations of all the other issues that you're dealing with, the ability to put people on board and then look at some of the capital improvement projects that I've talked about in the past too. I think those are also important. Any other than that, I'll answer any questions. If anybody has any questions.
Questions?
I have a piano recital at 6:30, and I don't know what the council agenda is going to be, but I'm probably not going to be here after that.
Let me do something right now then. We'll do something right now in the work session. I was going to do this later, but I don't see Jimmy. Joe, you want to come up too? I've got an award. I was going to present this during my council comments, but since you've got to go, I want you to get to your son's piano recital. This is from the American Public Power Association. This is a certificate of excellence in reliability. I'll just read it real quick. It acknowledges that Fairhope Public Utilities has achieved excellence in reliability by significantly outperforming the electric industry national average as reported by the Energy Information Administration. So, congratulations to you.
I don't deserve to accept that recognition. I've been here 8 weeks. Jimmy, Joe, and the people that work in the electrical department deserve all the credit. So thanks any of them that you happen to find along your way during the next course of the week, month, or whatever. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Pettis.
Yes, I just wanted to let everyone know the second Tuesday of each month, we have coffee with the cop at 9 a.m. at the Nick Center. And on the 11th, we were going over some things, and I was telling them some of the things that I get passed on every day from around the county that's going on. And we're still having a high spike of B&Es, people leaving items in their vehicles and stuff. And I was telling them that on the 11th.
Chief, why don't you come forward too, because people are watching this. I don't know if they can pick you up in the back of the room there.
And that night, well, 4 days the next morning, that Wednesday morning, one of the officers out on just routine patrol, he happened to stop the car just for a headlight out. We had 3 individuals out of Mobile that was over here, and he asked for the driver's license, and the fella kept trying to, he said, well, I think it's in the trunk, and he kept trying to undo the latch up under his seat for the trunk. And he had one of the stolen guns up under his seat. And they had another stolen gun in the glove box, and then we had a shotgun. So it was three vehicles that we know of that morning that was broken into, well, left unlocked, and they went into it. And so I'm just asking the citizens if they would take their valuables out of the car and continue to lock these vehicles, because it's not a lot of car windows getting broken out of unless you're leaving laptops or something they see are valuable. But when you got a Borelli shotgun, $800 or $900 shotgun laying on the back seat in the case, and the car's not locked, you know, and somebody's out 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning checking them. And so I'm asking this for the safety of my officers as well, because this could have easily turned out bad if he had got his hand on that pistol up under the seat. But the officer, he's been in law enforcement a while, and he told him, don't worry about it. Just step out of the car, I'll unlock it. And so we're working a lot of wrecks. There's a lot of accidents on the road also. So we're asking people also to put their cell phones down. Most of the new cars have hands-free devices, or you could do like me. I have one too that I keep up over my sun visor, so you can pay attention to what you're doing instead of texting and driving and stuff like that. We've been issuing quite a few citations, and I've been getting a bunch of calls. I had 2 calls today about could they get help with tickets and stuff, and I explained to them, once a ticket is written, you have to come and talk to the prosecutor and the judge, because once the button is pushed, it goes straight to Montgomery. So I just want to let the citizens know, I don't mind you calling me and stuff, but we don't fix tickets, and it's nothing I can do with a ticket.
Slow down.
Can you tell him not to call me too, Chief? Okay, Tom, cool?
The only thing we got going is a soccer tournament this weekend, 120 teams coming to town. That's all.
Thank you. Arthur?
Yeah, just want to let y'all know, starting this weekend, we'll be starting to charge a bit at the bank. We've got all our people lined up, so they'll charge Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right. Council, do you have anything else for the work session? We'll move on to the agenda meeting.
See your Bible?
Where's Pandora? I can't see her way back there. Oh, and Robert too, and Bobby too. Pandora? Bobby?
Just like to remind everybody that Quill Creek is doing very well, and we're a great asset to the community with all the fundraising activities that we've had recently. We've had a lot of tournaments and outings. Next Friday, we have Kiwanis Club, and they'll make some money for their program. We had the Jill Hall Memorial Tournament yesterday, and that raised money for scholarship programs for our juniors in Baldwin County. The Fairhope boys and girls teams are finishing up their year. They both be in state and sub-state, trying to get into the state finals. So they have a lot going on. The Quail Creek's doing very well, and we just look forward to having a great summer.
Did I miss anybody? Okay.
Yeah, I do have something. Hey, Dan, where do we stand with the library and the Quail Creek engineering services with the, as far as the reports for the library repairs and the repairs at Quail Creek?
Okay. Library, the contracts were put in place with, contract was put in place with Goodwin Mills, and they have a kickoff meeting. Look here, it's like first Monday in May, which is like next week.
Okay.
That's the library. The other one, you're voting on the engineer of record for tonight for beginning the engineer of record work
Okay.
on the discovery for you.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, anything else? All right, we'll move on to the agenda meeting real quick. I wanted to just say something, I'll probably say it again in the council meeting on item 3, the mayor's veto. She'll present that to the council. There was not a conspiracy that was put before public participation. Public participation in this instance was started to put on the agenda when the council took office in 2012. There has not been a veto since prior to that. So clerk put this on the agenda after the report of the mayor, where it had always gone prior to that. I don't know how many years you have to go back for a veto, but that's the reason that it was put there. There was no trying to circumvent public participation on that, subject to some people thinking otherwise. Item number 6, Dan Ames, would you speak to that during the time if you're called on? Or would that be city attorney? I'm sorry. The tolling agreement?
I can speak to that.
Okay.
That's just a continuation of the agreement we've had in place, and this will be the second continuation.
Okay. So if you have any questions, just ask the city attorney, counsel. Okay, item number 7. Dan? Okay, item 8 would be Dan, you as well? Okay, I think item number 9 speaks for itself. Item number 10. Richard, would that be you? Oh, you're not going to be here, I'm sorry.
What was the item?
That's the reimbursable agreement for the relocation of the utility facilities for the county project?
That's for the high-pressure gas line. It is not part of the issue we're dealing with tomorrow. But Robert, you gonna be?
Yes, sir, actually.
Okay, that is the gas line relocation, Robert?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to put you down for
10
that.
and 11.
All right, thank you. Item number 12, South Alabama Mutual Assistance Compact. John, you can speak to that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Item number 13. Speaks for itself. We can talk about that during the meeting. Item 14. Okay, speaks for itself. Item number 15 speaks for itself. Item number 16. Jeff, would that be you?
I can speak on it.
Okay. Item 17, the budget. Everybody speaks on that. Item 18, item 19 and 20 are appointments. 21 speaks for itself. 22, 23, 24. Any questions, council? We got a little time. John, you want to go ahead and talk to us about item 12 now?
Yes, sir, that's a Elgin mutual aid agreement. It's just a formality, it's already in place in the city of Fairhope, it's just being updated by the county, and we just have to sign it. It just basically means everyone plays nice, and if we have a storm, we all share with each other, and just something we've always done. It's just an update from the county, just an update from the format.
Okay. All right. Excellent. And Jeff, you want to go ahead and give us a quick tutorial on item 16? This is the MOU between the Baldwin County Commission, the City of Fairhope, the Fairhope Volunteer Fire Department regarding the shared use of communications infrastructures.
Right. So 3 years ago, we were able to purchase a radio system for from a volunteer fire department fire grant. This is an agreement that the county will take over that system and start paying for the maintenance fees and the upkeep. In return, we're going to have to pay a $10 a month per user subscriber fee. And it's just an agreement agreeing to those terms.
I'll give you the value of that. Total is what, about $17,000 for the year? Is that about right?
About right.
I think we had, for quite some time, we were allowing these other entities to use our tower that we, I believe, had built with our grant money, correct?
That's correct.
And I believe the agreement was that until everybody else starts paying the $10 per radio per month, we weren't going to, but now everybody but us is paying the $10 per month per unit, is that right?
Pretty much everybody is now, and I think it's about an 80% participation with that $10 fees. He ain't got everybody paying it yet, but getting close to it.
Okay. And this would provide for hardware, not the unit themselves, but hardware on the antenna and software upgrades?
Software and hardware upgrades to the antenna itself. We would still have to maintain the portable units ourselves.
Anybody have any questions on that? Okay. Thank you, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Anybody have anything else they want to bring up on the agenda before we adjourn for about 15 minutes? Okay, we'll adjourn and we'll see everybody here in about 15 minutes.